Good evening, my fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I. And we are going to go to full screen mode so that I can read things while doing work. This is the short, truncated evening because I was out playing my Expanse game. And then, as if that wasn't bad enough, they've been working on these tracks. And the tracks are so horrible now, the train tracks, the crossing is so terrible that I actually tried to go a different route home, and instead all I managed to do was make it so that there was no possible way I could get home in time because I got myself completely and totally turned around. And you'd think finding an interstate would be pretty easy, but in fact it is not. So, hope you guys are all doing well tonight. We're only here for a little bit. This is a set of letters from my great uncle, Robert Stewart, who all of this is part of the memorial stuff that goes with him. I have So my great uncle was stationed in England, and he was in England. Hey there, guys. How you doing, man? And he was on a hard stand, which is where they worked on aircraft. came back from overseas on bombing runs. And so these are artifacts of his that he had saved. They're newspaper clippings. And some of them are fascinating. Like, for example, this is a newspaper clipping of a B-17, which, I mean, even on the back of this is somewhat fascinating. Because even the back of this particular cut but it is there's like 3 copies of this. Oof. This one's gonna be difficult. So how you doing tonight, Valve? What's the story? What's the haps? Probably should do this. So this was this was done on an early mimeograph. It's dated 1949. So it's ancient. What is this a list of? Dear friends, a recent snowstorm has reminded me that once again, that's from their CO. I'm not 100% sure. All of those belong to a very specific thing. All right. Valve, how are things going in your world? Did I lose you already? Decide what to do with these. I'm not 100% sure I want to throw those away, but also not 100% sure I want to keep them. My grandmother, in the 50s, then owned a fabric shop in a southern town called Conroe, which is a Texas town. She owned a fabric shop in the days and the ages when women didn't do that. So she had quite a bit of she caught a lot of flack. It was not easy for her. So She was a tough cookie, my grandmother was. Spent a lot of time fighting the glass ceiling. You know, as in it was only okay because she was making a fabric shop, so it was obviously a store for women. So that made it okay for her to be businesslike and run a business, which was weird to think about from today's perspective. We think about that from today's day, and we're like, why in the world did you even think about that? It doesn't even make sense. But in 1957, it was a very different world. It's a fascinating thing to go through some of this history. All of these little pieces of paper are all various bits and pieces of my family's life as it was, and some of it is important and some of it really just isn't. And the only reason I'm even keeping these is because I believe it pertains to family land, which we may not own anymore, but we do genealogy. My sister and I do. So it might be beneficial at some point to know where these things came from. And somebody took somebody to court. These are all docket orders. Fascinating to me. So we have now finally put an end to this project. If we do not finish it by November 1st, whatever's left gets thrown away. So whether we like it or not, we're done with this project on November 1. Which, you know, will be sad, but is what it is. And honestly, I will be so much better when these are not my problem anymore. These are in charge. I have no idea whose paperwork these are, but trying to bring it back to some semblance of normalness. This is a hard one to for the best of that one. Can't believe that there's one of these guys left. And saying that I used to have these when I was a kid. I go around the playground with these, and then of course, because it was the 80s, I would get beat up. And that was the nature of that. That was where that ended up. Almost always. Definitely my ship designs. They have not evolved much from my early days. The early days of starships that clearly have more fins than they need. But that's alright. I don't care. Because I like fins, and that's just the way it goes. A phase I went through in life where I liked alright. Not 100% sure what's going on in this comic, but that's okay. I don't remember anymore. And this is where I was in 1991, folks. Ever feel bad about your artwork? Remember, all of us have. On the eve of unity. There's an ironic thing. This dates this right immediately, doesn't it now? Talking about cocktail. Dad's stamp on here. Jeez. This also isn't really horrible bad. I mean, some things never change, folks. It's very interesting looking at some of these because they are clearly, parts of my development cycle as an artist are in here. And also very clearly there are threads that you can see. And go through all the spacecraft and all of the things that I have used all this time. Alright, now we're finally here. Back in the days when we got our news from these are called a fanzine. In the days before any of for the internet, before days of being able to watch things on TV, there was this, and this is what we had. Pretty much all we had too. This is a fanzine. I'm actually kind of astonished that I still have. And I wanted one of these resin cast phasers, and this time so badly. Back in the day. these magazines were like the most important thing I ever got, because they were, look at all this stuff that I could get, dreamed of having enough money to be able to buy these things.
Minutes remain.
Our day is almost done. That's right. Ooh. Hey there, Mashing. Long time no see. How you been, fam? Can you guys even hear me? Do I have audio working? Wouldn't know. Oh. Oh yeah, I got lots of tips. You give me just a second here, I'll finish this. And, oh, okay, good. I was just wondering. Oh, right. Man. Okay, yeah, I can give you, so, very new to drawing for comics. My first thought is, what kind of comics are we talking? I mean, is he manga style, or are we talking, what are we talking about here? These are the things that plague me. Manga. So, what you would do is ask him, her. Again, back to the I say him because default to him because I'm him. That's all. Them. Have them study the artist that they've got, or that they like, an artist that they're very fond of, and start with that. On the web, you can look up those. Yes. There's a trade-off. So, manga doesn't use color usually, but in trade does have much more strict adherence to graphic design and perspective and things like that. You are absolutely right. So they can also pick up watercolors, because when when they do use color for like covers and things like that, then they usually use watercolor for that. So here's the best piece of advice I can give them. There are 10,000 bad drawings in you. There is no way to get those drawings out except to draw them. You have no choice. So you might as well start working on your 10,000, because there's only one way to get to the end of those 10,000 bad drawings, and that's to draw them. So, because the only real way you're going to get better at art is to just keep working at it and not get discouraged and not get upset and not get mad. So that's all we got on that one, you know. So but I can give you other tips, like when we're not doing this, which won't be forever, but when we're not doing this, I can give a whole lot more tips. Yeah. And try to draw their pictures. Just don't publish it like it's yours and you're fine. So, you know, go out there and find somebody you like and duplicate it. Draw the same picture. See how close to the same way you can get. You know, I started out with, wow, this is awesome. My temporary driver's license when I was like, I don't know, under 21, sometime under 21. I think I'll take that to school someday. But yeah, follow every artist, certainly. But also, draw their pictures. See if you can match it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's brutal. Only one player. So, yeah, there's some habits that need to be killed, huh? What program are they using? Their hands being bad? Oh, yeah, you mean the way they draw hands? Oh, clip Oh yeah. Using only one layer with clip. That's a sin. You're right. If you want to bring them into my into here, I will do a tutorial, and they can ask questions. I'm okay with that. If you'd like to invite them in at some point in time. Hi, Mr. Dad. Okay. Kind of worried about me, but okay. And that's fair. Sleeping is a thing. We all have to do that. I will be doing that shortly. But I also do a day show at 9 o'clock in the morning, my time. So if they want to drop in, I will happily show them around and give them pointers on how to use clip. There's a lot of stuff that you can use on Clip Studio that it just takes a lot of time to get there. But, you know, awesome. I'll help. You can help. We can both help. I am certainly not more qualified than you, I don't think. So I think that works really well. But I can show them, I don't know. Yeah, halftone's good. I love halftone. I have my own halftones that I pilfered from. Well, I didn't pilfer. I bought whenever when I was in Japan, I would go to the Joyful Honda, and anytime they had halftone on sale, I would buy it. So I have a whole lot of halftones that are unique and interesting, and skies and just great stuff. I absolutely agree, though. It is wonderful. Yep. So, always fascinating to me. One of the tricks behind halftones is trying to figure out how to get them to look not like they're halftones, you know what I mean? Like you meant to do it. And I always find that to be the troublesome trick. Yeah. Yep. I will concur with that one. My grandfather in World War II. Oof. Days when this was the way we did stuff. No idea whether I'll ever be able to recover this. We'll have to see. getting there. We're getting there. It's worse now than it was before. And that's mostly because you know how it gets. It gets worse before it gets better. But this is the 5th leaf and lawn bag full of paper that's about to go outside. So, kind of glad to have that happen. At least, I know we're progressing because they're going out to the trash. He's heading out to the trash. So we're making progress. It's my mom. It is definitely my mom. Lots of pictures of my mom. From her memorial, sadly. We're getting there. We're getting there. Slowly, but we're getting there. This is probably from my 1st grade. Yeah. My dad didn't know what to do. He was kind of paralyzed a little bit by this because Mom died really early. Mom died in 2002 when she was only 57, and that's relatively young. I mean, I'm 51, so it's 6 years from now for me, and I'm not intending on dying, so. But she had congenital heart failure. She contracted rheumatic fever when she was a child, and it damaged one of her heart valves. And so she knew she needed to do something about it. Unfortunately, the problem we have was that it was like $65,000 for her to fix it. So she didn't because it was too expensive. And that's that. And so she passed away in 2002, and all the things she had went to my dad's storage unit. I appreciate that. I mean, thank you. It was stupid. It was really irritatingly stupid. Because that shouldn't have been a thing. She really should not have had to die because she was poor. That's dumb. So, anyway, the long and the short of it is that at some point, all of her stuff ended up at my dad's storage unit. And my dad then ended up with all of these things where he had all of Mom's stuff and all of my grandparents' stuff. It really is. It really, really is. So, my mom's stuff and my grandparents' stuff, and he didn't know what to do with it because they had been divorced for a long time. But he still cared for her, and she still cared for him too. As in fact, it was not like they didn't care for each other, but water under the bridge. But he didn't know what to do with all of it, so he just kept it. And then he passed away 2 years ago, and my sister was like, I don't even know what to do with this stuff. I don't know what we should do with it. And I said, I don't either. And so I've been holding on to it too. But now I'm moving, and I don't want to keep this stuff. This is like, there's so much stuff here, and I don't need to keep any of this. You know what I mean? Like, it can be photographed, and then if we ever need it for whatever reason, we can use it we can use the photograph. The photograph of it is fine. You can read the letters. You can read all the things. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't need to be, we don't need to have the physical items. And I feel like maybe part of what's been kind of going on with me in my life has a lot to do with just being, just being stuck with all of these things. Yeah. And it hurts too, because you're like, why did they have to be that way? Why do we have to have a world like that? Why does this have to be a thing? Shouldn't have ever done that, I think that's awesome of your parents. But I mean, it's one of those things that you're just like, well, what were they going to do? They certainly weren't going to let you die. As a parent, I won't let my child die, even if that means that I work 6 or 7 jobs to, I have been remarkably lucky that my child has been particularly hale their whole life. So it hasn't really been that big of a problem, but still, that's just rolling the dice, The only reason I didn't end up spending all of my money on my child's various bills is because of just random chance, It's a thing. I think about that a lot. I think about a lot of things a lot nowadays. As I grow older, and Alfie has snails as pets. Oh, Alfie. So, yeah. It's not bad. I think all of us have interesting different things. Each one of us is an interesting individual. I don't remember bad things, apparently. Alfie has 8 snails. I don't remember bad things, like I'll meet a person and somebody will tell me that this person did this bad thing or that bad thing, and I won't remember it after about a week or so. I'll remember all the good things, but I don't remember the bad things. For the most part, that's treated me well through my life, as you might imagine. Because it's okay. I don't remember bad things. There's nothing wrong with that. But there has been, where I have been in charge of, something, in charge of some kind of situation, and I needed to remember this individual's good and bad traits. I just can't remember the bad stuff. And that hasn't treated me well in that instance, but only when I'm in charge of things, So as long as I'm not in charge, we're great. So just don't put me in charge. I don't have to. I'll remember that Alfie has snails, but I won't remember that Alfie won't remember anything from 2 to 8. So, interesting side effect. I do want to know their names, Alfie. Ron Axelson. Seems like I remember this guy. Mr. J.R. Stewart. That's my great-grandfather from Robert Stewart. 3816 something 100 bomb group, 351st Bomb Squadron, APO 634. This is fascinating. Terry, Terrence, Tiny, Micro, Mini, Brownie, Elbow Jelly, and Tommy. Elbow's such a base name. Wow. Wow. It's very hard to see this picture. I told you my great-granduncle was on a hard stand in World War II. And what you may or may not be able to see in this picture is two aircraft. One of them is in B-17 in the background there, but the one in the foreground is on fire and falling out of the sky. And this is a picture in my granduncle's memories pack. Just a random picture. Just interesting, isn't it? A moment in time. Just one moment in time. And here's this was the wallet that it came from, which means that was from his camera. That is. And it's the thing that's so interesting about all of these pieces of paper and everything, when we start talking about stuff, is, this is my granduncle's inventory, and just the stuff he had with him, his mess kit, toilet articles, wash soap, towel, handkerchief, socks, 2 socks. I mean, this is because he was shipped over there and shipped back. And yeah, I found another thing in here that was horribly creepy. I mean, creepy in a good way, and in the just really creepy sort of level. And it was his notebook. He had this notebook. And in the notebook, he would write down every plane that got shot down. And we don't know who she is. But my great uncle had a girlfriend while he was over there. We find that particularly funny. But yeah, heck is Thomas Calloway? Whoa. This is fascinating. This piece of paper, this blue thing right here, this card you're looking at right here, is 4 years away from being 100 years old. I think it's in reverse. I think my camera's backed up, but it says good until September 1st, 1929 or 1926. 1926. Yeah. The stuff that happened in World War II, when you look at it, all the things that occurred in World War II, some of them are just really... Yeah, it's flipped. Tom Calloway's discharge papers. Why do we have... Who's Tom Calloway? Mechanics Lament. Oh, yeah. Look at this. It's a food ration. Now, it's backwards, but it's from 3/30, 1944, or 3/20. So, March 20th, 1944. Mrs. Betty Stewart was my great-great-great-grandmother. And so she was getting... What did she get? 12 pounds of sugar. What the hell was she making with 12 pounds of sugar? I don't know. But these are all moments and points. Basic Claim, Veterans Administration. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I find that to be also intriguing. Like little bits of history like that. Like your grandparents could speak. This is reported missing. So this guy was reported missing. First Lieutenant Jack Pry, bomber pilot, has been reported missing in action by the War Department and consequently has not heard that he is the father of a month-old daughter. He was listed as missing in action since in the European theater since October 8th. Lieutenant Pry went to England in June after receiving his wings at Columbus, Mississippi, and completing his operational training at Walla Walla, Washington. He has won the Air Medal and 1 Oak Leaf Cluster. That's interesting. And these are letters. Robert kept writing "Dear Home." I remember Uncle Robert. We of course, rules say that I called him Uncle Robert. That's just what you called him. But I remember him. I do remember him. He died in 86, 87. Oh. Like these are painted on this cover. Robert L. Stewart, Conroe, Texas. Yeah. Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. I feel like that's a different level. Like, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Trafficking is just, it's just horrible. running out of time here. I have to move on and go to bed soon. And so should you, Mashing. I don't know what happened to Alfie. Alfie said that they'd be right back, but we will be moving on, I think, without poor Alfie. Alfie will have to catch up. Yep, East Coast time. I agree with you. It was good to have you here, Mashing. It was great talking to you. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope to see you again in the future. I actually will close this up and start settling in for the evening as well. So, you and I can head on out. I'll see you on the flip side, my friend. Until then, as always, folks, keep your eyes on the stars. Good night.